I think the biggest issue that I see is comparison. The internet is a great place of opportunity, but it's also a great place of deception, where people compare themselves to something that they're not.
I suffer with this.
And we all do. And they begin to compare themselves. And comparison is the killer of joy. It's the thief of joy, because you're no longer present. You want to be what somebody else is, and you imagine an elusive reality of what somebody else is experiencing, and you think that that other person has all the answers, when in fact, they probably don't. Just because somebody lives in a lavish big home or drives a Bentley or has a phenomenal watch on their wrist doesn't mean they have life figured out. Maybe they have a couple assets, maybe they have money, but if money is all you have, then you don't have much. And I think that social media has done a terrible job at making people realize that this material thing that we live in, this material possessions that we can acquire, is the end all of happiness, and that you're supposed to have a Lamborghini when you're 18 or 19, and if you're not, you're a loser. I was listening to an interview that Pavel Durov from Telegram did recently. He said, I've never bought a supercar, I don't have super yachts, I live in Airbnbs, I just want freedom. And I'm like, okay, this guy that's a multi-billionaire, been buying Bitcoin over the last 10 years, understands the fundamental premise of, I don't want things to own me, right? I want to own things, I don't want these things to own me, so understands how to manage his materialistic desires. But in social media, I think it's very easy to see somebody else's life and think that they have it all figured out, when in reality, we're all still trying to figure it out. Look for those content creators that aren't here to sell you a lifestyle, but that want to empower you with becoming the best version of yourself, which is why I love this podcast, because it's based on happiness, self-development, and business, which are the fundamental keys to living a good life. And you've had different aspects of entrepreneurs, and I had a plethora of people, and I think that it's very healthy to find those people that are real and authentic, because authenticity is the premise of a life well lived, because if you don't have authenticity, then you've lost yourself in the process. And I think that's the biggest issue that we face nowadays with men, the comparison that ultimately leads to the killing of joy.
And that's well put. I think especially like when you see social media, the Instagram stories, like it's just real time. What are you doing right now? What am I doing? You know, whenever someone posts a story, it's likely that what they're doing is fun. And if you're sitting in the office, no matter which door you're opening, they're all doing something better than you. Because if you were just sitting in an office or sitting in a workplace, it's just going to be a boring setup. But if they're posting on their story, they're out on a yacht. Or so when you open your stories, you will see like everyone is having fun except you. Because if the fact that they're posting on a story means they're doing something interesting. And I think in real time, you look at yourself and you say, like, okay, what am I doing now? And what are these other people doing in this moment? And you just compare yourself, and it just makes you feel so bad, you know? That's why I think a lot of people should spend less time on social media as well. Because I think there's only so much you can limit yourself. How would you stop comparing yourself? Like, what would be the counter? Let's say, for example, if someone today was comparing themselves a lot, how would they stop?
I mean, first is understand that, like you said, people on social media, they just reflect the best aspects of themselves. And that's what social media is for. It should be for business. It shouldn't be there for, you know, when people talk about drama and when people are out here talking about people's personal information. I don't like that. That's gross. I think the internet is about business. I think it's just a vehicle and a channel to materialize things into the real world. And I think that this is what matters, relationships. Like, fuck the cameras, you know, like, we're going to dinner after this, we're gonna have a good time. That's what matters. But had it not been through the internet, we would have never been able to do it together.
We would have never met.
We had the meetup. There was 1,600 people that showed up. 1,600 people in Dubai. I live on the other side of the world. I live in the Caribbean. 1,600 people in Dubai. What matters is the experiences, the hands that you shake, the stories that you listen to. The people that are comparing themselves first need to realize that most things on the internet are just the best versions of people. It's not people's realities, it's just glimpses into people's lives. And for the people who are like, oh, well, those people don't make money. Let me tell you something. People make money. Don't get that mistaken. People make a lot of money on the internet. And people flaunt a lot of their wealth on the internet, but it's not the end all and be all of their lives. The second part is, why do you use social media? Are you a consumer or are you a producer? I use the internet to make money. I use the internet to build community. I use the internet to find connections and relationships. I'm not out here doom scrolling on TikTok, wondering what Kim Kardashian and Lady Gaga are doing on their free time in the Frappuccino that some other bullshit influencers cooking up. I don't care. I'm using it as a producer. And I think the people that use social media as a consumer are the ones that end up being very, very unhappy.